Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the hearing board of the South Coast Air Quality Management District, and we are now in session. Today is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. The time is 9 o'clock, and we're meeting remotely via Zoom due to the fact that there is the pandemic going on, the governor's mandate, as well as the fact that the South Coast AQMD hearing board room is not open to the public as of yet. We have one case this morning on consent calendar, that of Tesoro Refining and Marketing Company, case number 4982-129, which is located at 2101 East PCH in Wilmington. And this is for a stipulated short variance and alternate operating conditions. And we do have before us, we have some exhibits that we need to mark, and hopefully everybody's received them all. The first exhibit, it's the joint stipulation regarding the findings and decisions and order granting the short variance and the alternate operating conditions, and to place it on the consent calendar. That's exhibit number one. Exhibit number two is the declaration of Adrian Rousseau, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which both parties have requested that the declaration be admitted into evidence. We have exhibit number three, the proposed findings and decisions and order granting a short variance and the alternate operating conditions. And then we have exhibit number four, which is within the petition. And it's the attachment one of the permit excerpts. And both parties have also requested that this be entered into evidence. And then we have exhibit number five, which is attachment number two within the petition. And this is of the photos. And both parties again have requested that this be entered into evidence. Okay, did everybody get that? All right. So at this point, I'm going to ask if there's any discussion on this, and then I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the public, which I do not see. Do you, Rosalinda? I don't see anybody. I don't think there's anybody.
No, I don't see anybody.
I
Okay,
don't see anybody, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you. So with that, we can go into deliberation to make the findings for this. And if anybody wants to start with the deliberation. If not. Okay. So in reading the documents that we had for this case, I can find good cause as well as make the findings for it. And if we want to go through that, the petitioner was here for a variance, and they will be in violation of section 410700701, as well as the rules 203B, 2004F1, and 3002C1, the reclaimed NOx conditions, section F, I, A, 1 through 4, section G, A1, section E at the administrative condition E8, and the SEMS rule 2012 subparagraphs C2A, C, 3A, and G1. This is beyond the reasonable control of the petitioner. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice this morning. And this would be in arbitrary or unreasonable taking of property, or to the practical closing and elimination of a lawful business. Number three, the closing or taking would be without a corresponding benefit in reducing any air contaminants. Number four, the petitioner for the variance has given consideration to curtailing operations of the source in lieu of obtaining a variance during, and number 5, during the period that the variance is in effect, the petitioner will reduce excess emissions to the maximum extent feasible. And number 6, during the period the variance is in effect, the petitioner will monitor or otherwise quantify emission levels from the source, if requested to do so by the district, and report these emission levels to the district pursuant to a schedule established by the district. Is there any other comment and or?
Madam Chair, I support the motion if in fact that's what you're making.
I haven't made the motion yet. I will. Okay. No other comments or questions?
No, ma'am.
Mohan?
Yeah, I just, as not a principal, but I was just going to oppose the motion only because I don't see a violation. And I won't get as passionate, Mr. Ali, as the last time, so I'll spare you that. But I did want to read, I think Mr. Pearman may appreciate this, something he came across in a book I was reading. And this was a cartoon that the inspector had, and it's from the Montreal Gazette. It showed a judge and the accused. The punchline read, "The jury has found you not guilty, but I'm going to give you 5 years to be on the safe side." Sort of. Anyway,
Just
that
okay.
I saw some parallel somewhat to this, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, did anybody want to make the motion? Or did you want me to go ahead and continue? Okay, if nobody wants to make the motion, I'll go ahead. In the matter of South Coast AQMD versus Tesoro Refining and Marketing Company, case number 4982129, which is located at 2101 East Pacific Coast Highway, Wilmington, California, 90744. I move that we grant the short variance and alternate operating conditions.
A second.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on that? All righty. Mohan, how do you vote?
I would know.
Mr. Pearman?
Aye.
Dr. Bernstein?
Aye.
Ali? Mr.
Aye.
Ali? And I also vote aye. So 4-1, it passes. And that finishes up our subjects before us this morning. I just wanted to remind you that next week we have a full week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have a hearing each day. So I know it's going to be a full week for all of us. Did you want to say something, Mohan? I saw your hand.
I may have missed a motion. Did your motion include the AOC also?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mentioned it like 3 times. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because if any of you remember the organization Earth Justice that wanted us to respond to them, that was what their argument was all about. It had to do with the alternative operating conditions and how that is looked at by the district and whether we have jurisdiction over it, which we do not. That's through a federal EPA. So I was really, I paid a lot of attention to that one this time because I'm aware of the fact of how that can affect not only the company itself, but also obviously the sensitive receptors all around them. So, yeah.
If I may add, I think this is one of the few facilities that actually does apply for AOCs as a Title V facility.
Right. I think we had one maybe a month ago or so that also had that the AOC on there, but they are rare, as you have said, and they're interesting also. But with that, I don't have anything else to discuss unless any of my board members do. If not, we can go ahead and adjourn for the day.
Have a great day.
Chair.
Yes, Dr. Bernstein.
Excuse me. I wanted to, for a topic for discussion with our upcoming hearing board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if we could actually have a discussion regarding consent items that are placed on the consent calendar and what exactly how to proceed to formulate whether those discussions and,
Mhm.
whether deliberations are necessary.
Right.
I just want to see the difference. I would like to point out to me the difference between having a consent calendar item, for example, in a meeting for the city council versus a consent calendar here, and what deliberation actually is absolutely necessary, and what,
Mhm.
and as opposed to simply passing the motion.
It is very different, Dr. Bernstein. I also found it very different coming from the governing board and how that consent calendar is handled versus how this board handles consent, items that go to consent. And on this board, it always has to do with if both parties are stipulating that no arguments need to be made, no witnesses need to be called upon. And if we have all of the exhibits before us and everybody is in agreement, that's normally when it comes on to consent. However, as you know, the board members are asked if any of us have any questions and want to pull it so that we do have a hearing on it. That's also possible. But that's kind of the beginning of it. And I'm so glad you mentioned that because I don't know whether you use this form or not. When I was brand new, and Makai, you may also make a note of this. This is a really good reference, except for the fact what you're bringing up, Dr. Bernstein, at the very beginning, when you're a newbie, you don't really, this document, well, it's a reference document. For me, it did not tell us, okay, what's the difference of when there is, let's say, just good cause, or when it really also needs to bring in the 6 findings based on all the different types of variances that we have. So Ed Camarena is in the process of revamping this so that it's a lot more complete, so that we don't have the questions that we had. And another question I had at the beginning was, okay, why are we going to bifurcate this particular case? What preempts that? What is the cause of that? I had all of those questions in the beginning, and luckily I was able to ask our knowledgeable staff, who happens to be in a beautiful lavender sweater today, as well as Ed Camarena and yeah, just those two that I would refer to, because, it's very different the way that this board is so structured with the legal framework, if you will, than any other board I've ever served on. And so I know that my questions also had to do with, okay, which ones were 30 days, 90 days, all of that. So, well, this guide tells us this. It didn't, for me, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So he is in the process of revamping that. I spoke to him, as a matter of fact, yesterday about that specifically. And hopefully he may have that finished by the time that we have the general board meeting next week. We also spoke about, there were other documents that are similar to that we utilize that are helpful. His overview that he presented to us and to all of the alternates that were with us that one meeting, that overview to me is a really good point of reference, but also I had questions on that as well. So that's going to be revamped. And I know that Mr. Pearman also was helping us look at the rules themselves, the hearing board rules, to see if they are current and relevant. So that's also going to be something that we'll be discussing in the next few hearing board general meetings. So your question is right on point. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we do need to do that. And we do need to make sure that we all understand why something is happening, so that we can ask the proper questions, relevant questions. So I certainly do appreciate you bringing that up again. Anybody else?
So will the consent calendar issue be discussed next week, or is just something that might be discussed in the next few general sessions?
I would like to discuss it next week because it's part of this reference guidance for the hearings. And
Okay,
so
perfect. So we'll get it on the calendar for
Right.
point of
Yeah.
discussion for, good. Okay, great. Thank you.
And there's just one point to the doctor's query. So the matter will be agendized, right? There'll be a section that will encapsulate. Okay, fair enough. Thank
Mhm.
you.
So, anything else, board members?
No, ma'am.
All right, great seeing you guys this morning.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice week, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday.
All right.
Be well.
Day.